Okay, hang on.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yes.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for your weekly health talks with Dr. Trin. The one show, maybe the only show that tries to make sense of all the noise and get to the facts simply, calmly, concisely. And a chance for you to call in and ask questions with the man who's always willing to answer them, but seems to be shaking his head more and more these days at some of the craziness going on there. Dr. Trin, welcome, sir.
Welcome and welcome, Lisa.
So today
Hello.
we got a fun show for you. This may be our very first of a long series of shows. This may be so popular we just changed the whole format of the show. We're going to do a cooking show, a live cooking show here on OC Talk Radio. We've never tried to do that, a radio show doing cooking here, but we've got some video to show you. So if you go to YouTube, you can watch us live here as we're cooking away. And it's healthy brain, healthy foods. We're going to show you how in a few minutes to change your life. We've talked about it. Now we're going to show you how to do things. Right, Lisa?
Absolutely.
Before we go there, though, I just want to address some of today's controversy here, and maybe people can be tweeting while we're setting up and cooking here. They can be responding to us on Facebook. What do you all think of what's going on with face masks? We've got people rioting over using them. You're not getting me to threatening public health officials to the point where our own health official, Dr. I don't know if she's a doctor, not Nicole, quit. She said, I'm not putting up with this. She quit. I mean, you said it earlier, Dr. Trin, if we all, I'll let you repeat what you said earlier when we were getting ready for the show here.
Yeah, and good morning, guys, on Facebook. I see Sherry on Facebook and Vivian and Vicky's on there now. And so we're going to do a fun cooking show for you guys. But I quickly, our physician who heads up, the recommendations on
the county health office, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the county health office, Nicole, had recently resigned because of this huge backlash.
She recommended. She said, let's make it mandatory. People wear masks when you're out in public, right?
Yes, she made it, and huge backlash.
Angry backlash. Yeah, they threatened her.
Threats of lawsuits against her specifically, and then in the middle of a public hearing, they read out her home address.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like below the belt.
And people showed up and are protesting outside her house and chanting and calling her names. And she's like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm just trying to tell you what the science says.
If they did that with every, with
doctor, expert that came
forward, doctor who made, sound health decisions, who's going to be left? Everyone's going to resign. Because nobody wants a protest in front of their house.
Or threats against their life.
Threat against their
They
life.
assigned a sheriff's detail to her because they actually thought there were credible threats against her life.
Yes, yes. I just thought that was
For doing what?
unfair.
For simply saying, I'm telling you that wearing a mask will allow us to go venture back out in public. We all want to venture out. We don't want to stay secluded. We don't want to stay shut down. So wear a mask and we'll slow the spread down. It doesn't prevent it 100%, but I saw a statistic the other night that said from Lancet, it's like if you wear a mask, if you don't wear a mask, you've got a 17% chance of contracting it when you're out in public, something like that. You're just going to run into it. If you wear a mask, it's 1/3 of that. It's 6%.
I read an article recently in the Associated Press that there were two hairdressers who recently opened up their shop,
Right.
and they saw 140 of their clients, and of the 140 clients over the 2-week period, both of the hairdressers tested positive. Not a single one of their clients contracted it.
There you go. So I mean,
They wore masks.
they wore masks.
go.
Pretty simple, right?
And it's such a minor concession. I know it's annoying. I don't like wearing them either. But honest to God, if you just wear a mask out in public, we can control this thing and continue our lives. But so that's my feeling. So I'd be curious to know, everybody on Facebook, what do you think of the people protesting? Maybe some of you are protesting. Maybe some of you agree with us and say this is an infringement of our freedom and they can't tell me what to do. But I'd really like to get some comments this morning because I'm flabbergasted. When it gets that angry that a public health official's life is threatened and she quits, where are we in this conversation? How are we going to deal with it going forward? So give us your comments about this. You think mask or no mask? And are you sympathetic for those who are protesting and got them to roll back to it's up to everybody? Or do you think, like me, this is nuts? Tell us what you think.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I would love to hear it too.
Yeah, really. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to call anybody out. Tell us the truth. We're trying to have an honest conversation here because I don't understand I personally don't understand where we're at right now. That wearing a mask has become a defiant, as somehow a threat to our liberty, and has become, people are defiantly saying, I don't care about the rest of the world.
Has become a political thing.
Yeah, we're gang members now. If you wear red, I wear blue, and we have to fight the minute we see each other here. Yeah, it's the Crips and
Heaven
the Bloods.
forbid that science and data that's thoroughly vetted, is the go-to.
Well, even if the science is, I understand people say, well, you dirty rats, you said don't wear a mask. Now you're saying wear a mask. I don't trust. I had a discussion with somebody the other day. He said, I just shut it all out. I don't trust any of the doctors anymore. Don't trust them. Don't believe it. So we talked about. I'm just going to do what I think is best, and the heck with everybody else. When we get to that point, then how do we navigate our way through if science and data is no longer a tool, or let's put it the other way, it's just a tool to advance your own political agenda, your own feelings.
Dr. Fauci did say this past week that the reason they initially didn't recommend everyone wear a mask,
right,
initially when this broke out back in March, February, was that it was due to the fact that there was a shortage of masks.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily a recommendation that was medically led. It was a recommendation based on the available resources.
And protecting the first responders. I mean, if we don't have enough protective equipment for our healthcare professionals, who's going to take care of everybody that's got COVID?
Right.
Unfortunately, it created an impression that science has changed and bent to, first they bent to the will of the politicians who didn't want to make a big deal of it, and then the flip-flopping, if that's a correct term for, or the change in position, we'll put it that way politely, has created a negative impression where, I'm sorry, there are people like my friend who's very smart, very conservative, suddenly doesn't trust what anybody says, and he's off on his own. He's just, I'm going to figure it. I'm going to do whatever I think is best. I don't want anybody else telling me anything, and I'm tuning out all the data and science and information, which isn't helpful. We said last week, there's been some political monkeying around. When the Lancet, British Medical Journal, says hydrochloroxide or whatever it is has potential heart issues here, and then they withdraw the article because the study can't be vetted. When somebody else they go back and forth, yes, no, maybe. I understand how people can start saying, then I don't know what to do. But to get angry about it and to protest and threaten people who are trying to help and look out for your best interests shakes my
It's just unfair. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in her position.
No.
And I don't know any physician who would want to give medical advice and be threatened with their lives.
Yeah, right. For telling
And
you what
be
I think
threatened.
is, you pay me to study this and give you your best advice. I'm going to tell you, and then look out,
And look out, because you're going to protest in front of my home. So why would I want that position? Why would I want to put my family through that? And that's what's happening today. If people don't like your position because of their political agenda, then they will go and protest in front of your home. What doctor would want to be in that position?
So what's our audience saying here? I'm not on Facebook yet here. What are they saying?
And so it's just, it's ridiculous with that.
So
I think people need to understand and remember that this is a novel, new virus. We've never seen it before.
Good point.
So the numbers are going to change. The data coming in, the science coming in, there's new information coming in all the time. So I think people really need to take a step back and look at it from a different perspective. As time goes on, we're going to learn more about this virus. I mean, that's the whole point of what they're doing clinical research studies on COVID-19 for. I mean, this is not, the data's going to change.
Right.
It is.
That is science. Science is not about, here's our conclusion, those are the facts, the truth, and we are done, right? Science is about, we are continuing to learn, we are continuing to collect data, and as we learn and collect data, our conclusions will change based on the new data that comes out. That's what science is. Science doesn't stop, right? So as we're learning new things, as we're collecting more information on coronavirus, our recommendations may change and probably will change because we are learning new things.
See, we hate that. Just tell me the answer and then don't change it to me later here.
When I was in medical school, right? When I was in medical school, treating an ulcer was with antacids and milk, right? Treating a stomach ulcer. If we stop there and say this is the facts, this is the truth, and never move forward with learning more data, learning more facts, and collecting more clinical research trials on ulcers, we would not be treating ulcers today with antibiotics, which is 90% of the case. Ulcers is now, we found out caused by Helicobacter pylori, which is a bacteria, which is treated successfully with an antibiotic. If we stop science at milk and antacids, that's where science would stop. We would never learn anything new.
Well,
it is the same with coronavirus.
I'm still using leeches. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Yeah.
I still believe in leeches. Well,
Right.
one of your guests, I think, said it best, and she's one of those that does advocate freedom of choice, but she says basically people have too much time on their hands and everything's become inflammatory, which would have been simply debatable. We might have debated this calmly, but now, and part of it is what's one of your other guests, I guess we'll talk a little bit about that here today too. One of your other viewers here said, we're all just going nuts. We're going nuts partly because we've been locked up and scared, and we're reacting accordingly.
Yeah, and when I talk about the need for masks in public, it is really about freedom, because when you wear a mask, you have the freedom to go out and do things.
Yes. I think it's the same way people see it's an infringement on your freedom. I think it's the secret that allows me to free. If they had said at the beginning of this lockdown, everybody's got to stay home, except if you wear a mask, I think people would have willingly said, well, if given the two choices, I'll wear a mask. Right.
It gives you freedom to go out and do things with that. Good morning, Alex, and good morning, Carolyn.
Well, we have gone nuts, but today we're going to deal with some nuts and fruits and berries and other things here. Let's see if we can pivot somehow from. Let's see if we can get some sanity, some fun, some
Our cooking.
Some good time.
good times going into. Look at that
Oh my
kitchen.
gosh,
First of
I
all,
see a kitchen.
what's
Oh
all
yes.
what's
We're
all
gonna do
over
some business.
what's all over the wall there? We got stuff all over the wall there. We got
Well,
refrigerator
because
magnets?
I have a beautiful 7-year-old boy, so of course I have to have urgent care kids up here, and
Yeah, that's
all
right.
my various. Of course, I have to respect, Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom.
all right. Why do
So
that looks
these are just.
looks just like
I'm
my
sorry?
house? What is it about refrigerator magnets that we're all drawn to them?
Well, my son likes to play with them, so and he
okay.
likes to reposition them and spell words that I'll notice a week later, and they're pretty difficult. Like he put up with the little letter magnets the word billowing. I didn't even know he knew how to spell it.
Billowing? Much less he even knew what the word was. Billowing. He's 7. Okay.
Very true. So I'm going to give you guys a little snapshot.
Cool.
This
All
is
right.
this is our Good Morning America segment here. We're coming live from
It is.
Lisa's house.
This is my house.
Wow. What do
You
you
got
got there?
it.
What are the ingredients? What are you making?
This is a healthy brain egg frittata.
Wow.
I used pretty much what I had in my refrigerator. I have organic brown eggs, chopped up broccoli, chopped up tomatoes, feta crumbles, and there's a reason I choose feta, because it's low calorie and it's a complex carbohydrate,
And it tastes
And it's
good.
low fat, and it tastes delicious.
Right.
So you get all the benefits of the cheese without the fatty.
So before we start,
Turkey bacon.
yeah. Before we start, let's remind
eggs.
people why we're doing this, because last week we started with and let's re-identify Lisa here. Lisa works with the Global Action?
It's the
Program.
Global Alzheimer's Platform Foundation.
There you go.
And we are promoting our Activate Your Brain Healthy Initiative. And today we're going to be covering our Eat Well pillar, which is our pillar number 2. And I'm going to make you some healthy egg frittatas.
Because
What's a frittata?
oh yeah, okay. What is a frittata? I know what a frittata is, but go ahead.
What is that?
It's an egg muffin. It's delicious.
Egg muffin.
It's
See,
just, it's
And just so you know,
it's a puffy
I
egg.
went big and I did the Star Wars muffin tops.
There you go. There you go. So again, in a world where everybody's, as one of our people wrote today, the world sending mixed messages, our politicians, our health public officials, everybody's sending mixed messages. Don't wear a mask, do wear a mask, don't do this, maybe this, could be this, oh, we're going to change this. And some of which may be what Dr. Trin said. It's a moving target. It's an evolving understanding of a novel crisis, or maybe it's just become politicized, I'm sorry to say. But whatever it is, we're looking for answers. Today we're going to give you an answer.
Is it an egg pizza? Is it like an egg pizza?
No.
Sherry said?
It's almost like an egg. It's not like an egg pizza, but what I do have is I have actually the recipe on a PowerPoint slide if you would like me to share my PowerPoint.
Yeah, right.
And it's got some
Wow.
pictures of some lovely, delicious items.
Can you email folks your recipe if they send us an email?
Absolutely.
Hold on, I'll put on my email if you guys want the recipe.
Yeah.
And let me.
Well, the whole purpose of today is let's have some fun. We're all still somewhat at home, and let's use that to learn how to cook better and eat better, because that's that simple step. That simple step will make you stronger, healthier, maybe even a little more resistant to the coronavirus. What do you think of that, doctor? If we had a little healthier system, would we be more likely to survive if the bug finds us here?
Yes, the healthy system. So I put my email down there, guys. Send me an email if you want the recipe, and I'll have Lisa forward it to me, and I'll forward it to you. But so
Paul, would you mind allowing me to share my screen?
Please. Oh, yeah. How do we do this here? Okay, share screen as we figure this out on the fly here. Share
but I want
screen.
to see the food. I don't want to see the screen.
Well,
Oh,
she's
you're going to see some food.
I
Yeah.
want to see it cooked.
Okay, you're sharing the screen. Go for it.
Okay. Actually, that's not my.
It says I'm screen
You're
sharing.
sharing your screen.
Right.
I want to share my screen.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen. That's what I got to do. I don't want to share my screen. The heck do I? How do I have to?
That's okay. We're going to get on it and get it cooking.
I'll work on it, and
You got it.
All
Yeah,
right.
you can unshare your screen now, Pa.
that's what I'm trying to do here.
What we got going on right here is I've got my egg already. I'm going to put in my broccoli. I'm going to put in my tomatoes. I did the turkey bacon optional because I know we got some vegetarians out there
Yeah.
who don't like necessarily bacon or pork or what have you. And, you know, there are always things if you have vegetarian options. I have a great blueberry yogurt smoothie as well we can do another time. But there are some
Wow.
really great healthy options that my son gets to enjoy. So let's
Wait,
get on it, my
How many
friend.
eggs? How many eggs are you using? Like 2 eggs or more than 2 eggs?
I'm using 1 egg and 3 egg whites. That
So you're
keeps it
using-
healthy. That keeps it brain healthy, and it keeps it low fat.
3 egg whites.
hmm
Hold on. The share says there's no video.
Yeah, I'm trying
Oh.
to figure out how to unshare my screen here. I can't.
Oh, unshare your screen's easy. There should be a button that says stop sharing. Let me see. Where's the stop sharing button? On there.
I know it's not showing up for some reason.
Let's see. We're having a technical difficulty.
Yeah, it's not showing
We'll
up.
see.
I'm actually going to crack an egg, my friends, and
Okay.
do some cooking. I
Sounds
got a
good.
kid I got to feed.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I almost always cook with music. I'm gonna spare you from my dancing today because you don't want to see that.
Do you see that splash?
Okay, hang on. I'm almost there. All right, I think I found it. All right, now
Oh,
let's,
good.
let's get this back up.
Can
here.
you guys see my
It will in 1
Yes.
second here.
my handiwork being done?
There we go.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
So that's 1 egg and 3 egg whites.
It's actually 2 eggs and 3 egg whites.
Wait.
2 whole eggs. There are 5 eggs in here.
Oh, wait.
5 eggs.
What are you doing with the other 3 eggs without the egg white? The yolks.
Oh, I put them aside. I make something else with them,
Mm.
Oh.
usually for baking.
Oh, okay.
Don't want to waste.
Okay, as long as you're not like wasting it, that'll be a waste.
Absolutely not. You can use the eggs you don't use. You can use them. You can save them and use them in baking.
How did you come up with this idea? Was this something somebody showed you? Is this passed down through generations, or did you just whip this up?
Interestingly enough, I started following Dr. Tran on his intermittent fasting. I always enjoyed cooking, but I followed his Longevity Institute, and I found a lot of success with intermittent fasting. And one of the outcomes is that I really looked forward to the preparing of my food. And this is a really simple, easy meal. The prep time is not difficult. You
Right.
can use whatever you have, produce-wise, vegetable-wise, in your actual frittata, but it's easy. It's easy. It's maybe 7 to 10 minutes to prep and 15 minutes at 350 in the oven.
I don't see any chicken feet in there. What's wrong with that? picture?
Chicken feet. Nobody eats a chicken's
You-
foot.
I don't see any.
There is no chicken feet in here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no good.
You know, and I don't know if chicken feet is activate your brain friendly.
I don't know. I've given lectures on the health benefits of chicken feet before. So
You know. All right. So what I do is I take my eggs and my 2 yolks and my 3 whites. I
Okay.
mix them. I put a splash of milk, low fat or non-fat preferably. I also include my tomatoes,
wow. Okay.
my broccoli,
Dang.
half the feta
Is that
because
cheese?
we like to. That's feta cheese.
It's
Oh,
goat cheese. Goat cheese.
goat cheese.
Yes.
Is goat cheese better than cow's cheese?
It tastes better. I don't know if it's really better, but it tastes to
It's
me
better.
better.
It's better for you. It's a better cheese. It's higher in it's a higher value complex carbohydrate, but more importantly, it's low in fat and high in protein.
So goat cheese should be the cheese we eat if we eat cheese.
Goat, feta. I like cheese. You know me, Dr. Trin. I watch what I eat. I'm pretty physically active.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about my diet during the week. Saturdays, like last Saturday is my cheat. Saturdays are usually my cheat days.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, I had nachos for breakfast, and they were delicious. But this
Wow.
is normally what I do because it's easy, it's quick, and my son eats it, and it's healthy.
Wow.
So while she's doing that, I'll just give you the Wikipedia answer for a frittata is an egg-based Italian dish similar to an omelet or a crustless
Very
quiche.
similar to an omelet.
Right. It's got scrambled eggs enriched with whatever you want to throw into it. Additional ingredients, meats, cheeses,
Exactly.
vegetables. And frittata simply means fried in Italian.
Wow. Good morning.
But ours aren't fried.
No.
They're baked,
Right.
which makes them healthy.
Wait, so baking is better than frying as far as health wise.
Because you're not using the oil,
Absolutely.
all the fried oils are what is terrible in fried food. Yeah.
Yeah, the oil that goes.
Yeah,
Oh. So wow. So I see my
I
friend
know.
my friend Gustav is online and he's made me a few breakfast dishes before, which are excellent. Gustav, can you take notes with this meal and let me know what you like for breakfast?
And while we're doing
I
this, I
think
could.
it's funny that you don't think you're going to get one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How are we going to get one here? So I'll give you another site that I did in advance of this. There's a place called tasteofhome.com, tasteofhome.com, and they have a whole section on frittatas, artichoke and potato frittatas. You know, because the frittatas just
I've done sweet potato.
there you
frittata.
go, there you go.
That looks really good.
Because it's just
That looks
eggs
really
and whatever you want to throw into it.
Good
Yes,
morning.
and it's healthy and not easy.
And she's putting them in little muffin tins so they puff up like a little cupcake there.
Do they actually
Uh
puff up?
huh.
They puff up?
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
You don't think I have some already pre-prepped and prepared?
I hope so. Yeah, right.
I just want to pre-eat them. Wow.
That's you with everything.
What about those? What do you do with that bacon?
That's going to go in there.
I
It's
usually
probably on
put the
top.
I usually put the bacon in. I only put it out only because my son does not like bacon, and I will be feeding him these.
Mm.
I always usually do bacon. It depends on how I'm doing it. The reason I put the bacon out here is I wanted to show a healthy protein that you can have that's meat-based. And this is delicious. It's a signature organic line, and I get it pretty frequently.
How
Wait,
about
is it?
I like
Turkey?
bacon.
turkey bacon? My wife likes turkey because she thinks she's
That's what it
anti-eating
is.
cows,
It's
right?
turkey bacon.
Oh, this is turkey bacon. Okay, all right.
This is
So-
turkey bacon.
Does turkey bacon taste the same as like bacon, real bacon?
Not exactly,
I
but
think it does.
pretty
but
close. Pretty
It's a
close.
good substitute.
Yeah, pretty close.
I mean, I only like bacon if it's like crispy.
Me too. I only like if it's burned crispy. I mean, I don't know. It's got to be like burned, blackened kind of.
Can you make turkey bacon crispy or not
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it just.
Really?
Look at this. Look at how crispy this is.
Oh, dang. I want to hear it crack. Like, can you crack it? Does it make a sound?
It does, sure.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You hear that?
Yeah,
Live
yeah,
from
yeah,
Lisa's
okay,
house.
okay.
Cracked bacon, folks.
Okay, that's approved. That's Healthy Brain Club approved. If it cracks. And
See
it's
how easy this was?
Would
I'm
that
gonna
take?
pop this in the oven.
Would that take 5 minutes or something? You whip the eggs and
It
then you
took
threw the stuff
6
in.
minutes. It took 6 minutes. I'm going to put it on for 15 minutes at 350.
Wow, that's amazing.
Could you do it?
And-
Could you do it in a microwave too, or would that?
Can you microwave it?
I do not microwave it, mostly because I think it tastes better. And this
Okay.
is the finished results.
Wow.
What about an air fryer? Can you air fry it?
I've never air fried it, but I would imagine an air fryer works kind of like an oven, so to speak. So probably.
Because we have an air fryer. We air fry a lot of stuff.
I want one.
I don't really even know what they do. I don't even know how an air fryer
Ba-
fries stuff.
Basically, it's like frying, except it's in the air. That's what it is.
So it's
Right.
Sorry,
without all the oil and the mess and everything.
Yeah, yeah, and so all the oil drops out of the air. I guess. I don't know. I don't even cook, so
I don't need.
I don't know. Is that right? That's air frying. Who air fries here? Any
I
guys
like it.
air fries.
I want to know who air fries.
Yeah, has anybody air fried? I've never.
Yeah, we air fry. Like we air fry. What do we air fry? We air fry stuff.
Do you like fried food? The taste of that crust on everything, crust on chicken, that
Well-
frying gives it?
Fried foods is not on the friendly, healthy brain list.
No.
But if you had to fry, right? If you had to fry, I think it's better to air fry than fry on a frying pan
Hmm.
because you use less oil
Right.
or none at all.
It's the greasy oil that is bad for you. That's why
Yeah,
fried food isn't good, right?
Yeah, corn
your
oil
heart.
is not good. Palm olive, all those different oils are not good, right? Other than olive oil.
Right.
So air frying, no oil is required.
Mm,
Sometimes, right? Unless you want to like coat it with olive oil or something.
right.
But with and the other thing is when you air fry, the grease, right? The bad stuff, the bad grease, drops out
Mm.
of the air. Like if you were to put your chicken or
Are you working for some air fry manufacturer? Is this just a ad
No,
for the
I'm
Dr.
asking-
Trin air
I'm
fryer?
asking Jenny for advice as I'm talking to you about air frying. But good
I want to
morning.
know what air fryer you have.
Yeah,
Good
it's
morning,
the
Edna. What's the name of our air fryer?
it's the Dr. Trin air fryer, the one he's going to sell us at the end here.
Oh, we just bought it from Amazon. But I don't even know what the name is.
All right, I'll look
But
up
it's
air
not a-
frying here.
But it's not a Dr. Trin air fryer because if the air fryer was to be sold, it would be sold by George Foreman.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Exactly.
George Foreman air fryer
The George Foreman grill.
grill, right?
That was the same kind of idea. It had little grooves so the grease drained off. You're trying to get rid of the grease that you cook in here because the grease is not good for your heart and everything.
Right. Do you guys? Edna says, "What about frying in olive oil or avocado oil?" So Edna, if you were to use oil, avocado oil or olive oil would be the oil of choice with frying. The only thing is, olive oil can only be done in low heat. When you go high heat, you kind of destroy the benefits of the olive oil.
You break it down, yeah.
You break it down. So if you do a high heat, avocado oil would be better because it can tolerate the higher heat.
Same with coconut oil.
So I didn't know that because I know that there are healthy oils for you, like olive oil, like in a Mediterranean diet in Italy, and
Grapeseed oil.
grapeseed oil.
Lisa, we don't see you anymore. Where's your video?
Yeah, her video dropped out.
I am cooking.
Oh, well, we want to see your cooking.
It's already in. It's in the oven, my friend. I've got
Okay.
some.
We want to just see you
Fif-
sitting there
15
anticipating
minutes.
it. All right. So here's what I looked up on Wikipedia. An air fryer is a kitchen appliance that cooks by circulating hot air around the food using the convection method. So it's similar. It's just a smaller version of a convection oven.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all an air fryer is.
Oh,
Just
it
a
is?
smaller
was-
version
So
of a
you
convection
can do
oven.
the frittatas in an air fryer.
You can. Sherry
Yeah.
says Oliver's in San Clemente has authentic olive oil in many flavor that she used for salads. That's good to know. San Clemente.
Do you guys see my you guys see my delicious
Oh,
frittatas?
yeah. What's
Man, that looks really good.
what's the red thing there?
the red
That's
thing is
strawberries.
Strawberries.
Strawberries. Oh my goodness. This
Yeah,
actually looks
where are the CBD cookies?
the CBD
Uh-huh.
cookies, Dr.
The
Trin.
CBD
What-
cookies.
We'll stick to health. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but what does
I was
it
going to
taste
say
like?
this is a. What does it taste like?
Yeah,
Oh, I'll be glad to sample it for you, my friend.
that's not fair.
Oh my goodness, my mouth is watering. It really is just watching this.
Mhm.
Mm.
Wow.
Bon appetit.
Hmm.
Do you add like
Hmm.
what's? Oh, dang! Hey,
Hmm.
hey, you're
Oh.
you're gonna mess up my intermittent fasting here if you keep eating.
That's the way it goes. So now what does this do for health and for brain? We've had eggs. We've thrown lots of veggies in there. We even threw a little protein on top of it there. Explain to us on a scientific basis, what did we just eat here? It certainly looks good. I don't think anybody would look at this and say, yuck.
Wow.
My 5-year-old grandson, who's so picky, he would eat that because he loves eggs.
You know, there's a lot of evidence that flavored rich foods that are rich leafy greens can help prevent forms of cerebrovascular disease, stroke, dementia. These are all things that you can do, small changes. Eating dark leafy green vegetables, unsalted nuts, legumes, whole wheat breads and pasta, dark chocolate. I know these are all surprises because everybody thinks chocolate's bad, but hey,
right.
Dark chocolate is great for you. These are all things you can eat. You can even drink red wine in
moderation.
Small amounts, of course, moderation.
Wait, how much is small? Because my small is like this.
That's getting on a big small. That's a big small.
It's a big small. How much is small? Like this?
3-4 ounces.
I would say a glass of wine is suffice.
And a glass is usually about 3 or 4 ounces. Yeah.
Oh.
Not a bowl, a glass.
Not a bottle.
Like one a day, or several times a day.
I think they always say
definitely not several times a day.
No.
One a day.
One a day. Yeah.
Can I like save all my glasses till Saturday?
And have a jug? Have one jug then? Yeah.
You cannot save all your glasses for one day. You know, you cannot do that. You just need to, these are small changes that you can make in your diet that have maximum results. I mean, we just prepped egg frittatas in 7 minutes, and you're going to have a healthy breakfast with some cut berries in less than 20 minutes.
So let me ask everybody a question.
And you used everything in your fridge and didn't have to use anything special or different.
Because the idea of a frittata, like an omelet, is throw everything but the kitchen sink in. Mushrooms, onions, anything that hits your fancy, anything that's left over in your peppers.
Wow.
Sweet potatoes, squash, you name it. The possibilities are endless.
Now,
These are the things that you want to focus on eating as opposed to fast food.
Now let me ask you another
sugary
question.
Drink.
Yeah, right. Let me ask you another question.
Sriracha on it. You need some hot sauce.
You could put hot sauce on it.
I usually put sriracha on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you like, bump it up a little bit.
Now, when you're cooking vegetables, some would argue you're taking some of the benefit away. Cooking anything has a tendency to kill off some of the benefits to it. Is that true, or is it you did it so fast it would be hard to me imagine you didn't cook this for 20 minutes and boil it and get rid of all the benefits there?
I think it's how you cook it.
Okay, meaning what?
What does that mean?
If you have a tendency to overcook things or you do something at a high heat, it definitely can take away some of the nutritional value. But at the end of the day, what I prepared, it still has nutritional value.
Because that looked like low heat and quick. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, these are the types of items and the way that cooking can, create healthier brain function.
Now, how did you grease the pan? How did you keep it from sticking? Did you just use a non-stick?
I
little
didn't.
Thing?
I used muffin cups.
Yeah.
So you don't have to grease it.
You don't. You do not have to grease it. You can if you want, and that's where you'd use some healthy oils,
right.
like
rather
what
than
you were
butter.
saying, avocado over. Exactly. You don't use butter. You don't use canola. You can use a healthier oil as your base.
Give us some healthy oils, good ones. So you rattled off a couple of them quickly here.
I have grapes. I have 4 different types of oils in my house at all times: grapeseed, coconut, avocado, and olive.
I've never,
because each of them I cook with at various heats.
Okay. So give us some. I've never used grape oil. I didn't know there was grape oil. It makes sense. I know there's olive oil, and that's supposed to be healthy for you.
Olive oil is healthy, low heat. Grapeseed, I'd say low to medium. Coconut and avocado, high.
So they won't, because otherwise it breaks down. These other oils can't survive at higher heats, right?
Olive oil has the most data, science behind it, as far as heart health and brain health.
Okay.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin, right?
I got it.
And what does it just simply means? It's been it hasn't been processed. The more you process something, again, you're killing some of the benefit of it. Whatever
You know, a lot of
processing
the
means.
flavonoids that you find in vegetables, you know, minerals reduce risk of hypertension and thus reduce risk of stroke. So flavonoids and antioxidants that you find in berries and fruits and vegetables, those all have positive effects on your cardiovascular system, and they reduce inflammation. So all these things plays factors into your brain health. I mean, it's pretty common sense, and it's really, really small changes that you can make.
Is that really one of the underlying keys to all this, is reducing inflammation? Dr. Trin talks about inflammation all the time. Inflammation in your blood vessels, I guess. But what gets inflamed, and why is inflammation bad?
Yeah, well, inflammation, essentially, chronic inflammation, long-term inflammation does damage. It is like short-term inflammation, like if you had a fever because you had the flu, you know, you had coronavirus, if you had a fever from an infection, then your immune system is just trying to fight the bad guys, right? It's trying to fight the virus, which is a good thing. But if you had this fever every day of the month,
Right.
every day of the month, that's when you do damage to your body.
And what is it that's inflamed? Is it your blood, your skin? What gets inflamed?
It depends. It can be chronic systemic inflammation.
Or your
It can
stomach?
be
Your stomach can
if,
get inflamed, I
if
guess.
you had inflammation in your stomach, we call that
Bowels.
gastritis,
Right.
right? If you had inflammation in your esophagus, we call that esophagitis or acid reflux. If you have inflammation in your joints, we call that arthritis. If you have inflammation in your skin, we call that dermatitis, acne, psoriasis.
And inflammation is what? The body's defense trying to fight back at something, some
Yes.
foreign thing
Yes.
there, substance or whatever?
Yes, if you got inflammation in your lungs, we call that asthma, emphysema, COPD. If you got inflammation in your gut, that's inflammatory bowel disorder like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. If you have inflammation in your brain, do you know what we call that?
Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Bingo.
learned that now. Yeah. So what is inflammation the curse of Western society here? I mean, do they have inflammation in tribal cultures in the middle of nowhere? I don't know.
We eat a diet that is pro-inflammatory.
That's simple. We're inflaming ourselves and what we ingest.
Yes, we eat ourselves to our diagnosis.
We eat ourselves to our diagnosis. Wow. Let's see. What do I want to be sick with today? Let me eat this. There, I did it. And
So
today, Lisa just ate herself out of a diagnosis here. She just ate herself away from 20 years of misery.
Interestingly enough, it's these types of meals. You know, Dr. Trin talks about inflammation in the body and inflammation in the brain. I have had a chronic autoimmune disease, psoriasis, since I
Wow.
was a 2-year-old, and I had been on medication most of my life up until about 10 years ago. Do you know what the number one factor was in reducing the inflammation or my psoriasis outbreak?
I have no idea.
Eating well.
That's
Wow.
simple.
The meal I just made today. I don't use steroid creams, and I do not use steroid medication for outbreaks because my outbreaks are very, very minimal, if they happen at all,
So my wife
just by diet.
has another rare kind of inflammation. She has severe allergy to anything that has lactose in it. So she's not intolerant. She doesn't just get an upset stomach. She actually get hives and cysts. Cysts, I guess, would be these large bumps and painful growths on her face or back or whatever if she eats any of that stuff. And the doctor said, how much dairy did you consume? She said, that's all I lived on for 20, 30 years. Piles of milk and cottage cheese and all those things. He said, you overdosed on it. Your body is, you created this allergic reaction. You weren't born with this. You made your body so upset and so overloaded, you've desensitized it. You've oversensitized it, whatever the word is. You've created this condition. So she's had to live the last 30 years of her life. Any little spot of lactose or anything else that's the ingredients of milk, She has to look at the food and the lists and all that stuff. Horrible, but she created it.
My son has something similar with peanut butter. So we're gonna get our frittatas out.
Oh my goodness,
They're done?
Really, that's it? While we were talking, you made a meal?
Oh my gosh. Let me see.
I never thought of using muffins before. I just thought frittata is kind of like just a little fried egg kind of thing. It's irregularly shaped. It's a little omelet.
Oh dang! Look at that. Oh
Yeah, I
man.
love the little muffin
Oh
theory.
my.
You know what we're gonna do? We are gonna sprinkle some feta on that bad boy.
Oh my gosh.
I love feta cheese.
You're like Lisa's like the new Martha Stewart.
Yeah, better
Without
than
the-
You
without
know,
the- Wow.
you want to hear something funny? I am not the cook in my family. My younger sister runs circles around me. So if she's watching, I hope I did you proud, Jana.
Wow. You're the new Martha Stewart without the jail time.
oh,
There you go.
Ouch! Right.
Wow.
That you know of.
Yeah, that she
That I
knows of.
know
of.
Oh, right. Yeah. Wow.
There you go.
That I know of.
And
There
she
you go, gentlemen.
and Lisa is friends with Snoop Dogg too. So I don't know that maybe there is a connection here.
I am friends with Snoop Dogg on Instagram. That is actually true.
So that's it. So you
wow.
just pop that out and eat it, and that's an on-the-go kind of thing. By making it a muffin, you could eat that while I'm.
much.
Yeah, I could take that with me in the car. I could take that somewhere. I don't have to sit and eat it. Here's the question I have for everybody on Facebook as we're coming down the last 5 minutes here. How many of you don't eat breakfast? I know very few people that eat breakfast anymore. Too busy, too tired, too quick.
Eat breakfast. Well, I don't know now. Now that I've seen her food, Vicky Sofa on Facebook says, having a hard time sticking to my 16-hour IF.
Yeah,
I want this now.
I want this
Well,
now.
Vicky, I'll make her some frittatas.
Well, she's trying to do an intermittent fasting though here, so she's
Frittata for lunch. For lunch.
yeah.
Yes.
After 16
Yes.
hours.
Everybody type in how many of you don't eat breakfast or how many of you do eat I consistently eat a breakfast. I have to. My wife rarely eats breakfast. Most of my friends rarely eat breakfast. And so again, we're overloaded at the time. I was always taught that the time your body needs the food the most is when you wake up and start activity, when you restart the engine here. Instead, we run the engine all day with no oil in it, no gas in it, whatever. And then at the end of the day, when I'm getting ready to sleep, that's when I pile up and have a big meal. And you wonder why you get fat and heavy, because you consume all this food and then you go lay on the couch and lay in bed and do nothing to burn it off. It would seem to be the opposite. We should eat big breakfasts and tiny dinners.
Yes. Hi, good morning, Pastor Tree. One of my pastors is on with that. Maybe I should start confessing now my sins. I'm so sorry. But anyway, many of us are taught that breakfast should be the most important meal of the day,
Yeah.
right? Many of us are taught that. But there's not a lot of science that actually backs that claim.
Okay.
So breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is a statement that's probably sponsored by Kellogg's.
Because I believe
Very
that.
much
I
so.
mean, it seemed, I do know that it, for example, when I do focus, when I have a small dinner, if I want to lose weight, I cut down on the dinner. I don't cut out the lunch and the breakfast. It's the dinner to me that where you, again, this is anecdotal, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like you're eating food at the wrong time of the day. As you're slowing down, I eat traditionally, like most Americans, I eat a big dinner and a small breakfast and maybe no lunch. And especially I'll cut out the lunch if I think I'm trying to lose weight. And when in fact, when I've done the opposite and cut out the dinner and still had good breakfast and good lunch, that has more dramatic effect on me. I don't know if anybody else has had that effect, but I think we eat food at the wrong time of the day.
I would say that intermittent fasting, although I don't do it every day, has really improved my eating habits. Breakfast, although definitely an important meal, it's not necessarily the most important one. I'll agree with Dr. Trin. The reason I chose breakfast is obviously at the time of day, it sounds good, and I do kill two birds with one stone. Think about it from the standpoint that I just prepared a meal on Zoom, and I'm going to feed my son at the same time. So I got to do a healthy meal with and 5 ingredients, and I get to feed my son. So, you
Wow.
know, I did that on purpose to kind of show you can prep a healthy meal in less than half an hour with the basic stuff in your fridge while you work.
So is
Pretty
there
easy.
any other advice? Could we ever come back and talk about healthy lunches or healthy dinners?
Absolutely. I initially was going to do pesto zoodles,
Wow.
but I didn't think it was appropriate for the one.
And what is it about? Somebody else said, interestingly, said they eat a big breakfast, but they eat dinner food at breakfast. So I guess you'd eat a steak for breakfast. Some people have done that. Why are we all trained to think that breakfast is a different? I certainly am. My body wouldn't take lobster for breakfast or wouldn't take fish for breakfast somehow. Ugh. I've got to have, eggs and cereal and pancakes. There's certain breakfast meals, and I might eat eggs for dinner, but I don't seem to want to have a salad for breakfast, whereas I have a salad for dinner. Why are we trained? Is that just training? Is there any sense to that?
Mindset. I'm teaching a Zoom course tonight. It's on mindset. Yeah.
And can you reset your mind once it's set in stone? Can I reboot it and reset it?
I have chicken feet for breakfast.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to try
I
one
had
of these ones.
nachos for breakfast last week, although not a good example,
Pete, when I was a kid in high school, I'd have pizza for breakfast, but that was just to be weird.
That sounds great.
I don't know. We are trained to think that there's certain foods you eat for breakfast. The breakfast menu at a restaurant is different than the lunch or dinner menu.
Sunshine says she eats cut up veggies, fish on a piece of toast.
See
Can you
that?
put fish on a piece of toast?
Fish on toast.
yes, absolutely.
Like the whole fish, like the fish head?
No, you wouldn't
Think
put the fish head on.
No.
You want to eat the
Think
parts
about
of
it from
the
the standpoint.
animal nobody eats here, the head, the feet. Yeah.
I love the head.
What about a salmon sandwich?
What about a
Never-
salmon frittata?
I've never had
Yeah,
it.
a salmon frittata. Exactly. A salmon frittata sounds delicious.
Yeah.
The only
Smoked salmon frittata.
Oh, I love smoked salmon. Yeah.
The only salmon
Me too.
we should eat is a salmon that is raw, uncooked, from a Japanese restaurant.
There you go. You like that real raw sushi stuff.
What if your brother-in-law is a commercial fisherman? Is that okay?
Oh,
Is
no,
your
really?
brother-in-law a commercial fisherman? I would love to taste some of the stuff he catches here. Yeah.
I would love that.
I will tell you this. My mother is not a big sushi fan or raw fish unless he's fished it.
Yeah.
Really?
She will not eat fish unless it is caught by him.
Well, because my experience with
We
fish
get
is
very, very spoiled.
the fish, the minute it leaves the ocean, it starts changing in flavor. It starts drying out and changing. And I don't care if it's 24 hours or 2 weeks later. The longer it's out of the water, the more it changes. When you go have fresh caught fish pulled out of the ocean, lobster, fish, anything, it's a whole different experience.
Completely different experience. Within 2 days of a catch, we usually have a very big fish fry.
Yeah, right. You got to eat it quick.
Wow.
Well, we've got to quickly wrap this up. So if we want to get some information on more healthy diet tips, where do we go?
You can go to the Global Alzheimer's Platform.org and click on Activate Your Brain. You can learn all about eating well, eating healthy, staying active. It's our brain health initiative, and it really gives you some really good tips on going through the 8 pillars of brain health. You can really prevent the development of Alzheimer's and dementia.
I hope you will. This was what, pillar 2? Pillar 1 was what?
This is pillar 2.
What was 1?
Staying active.
Staying active. So stay active, get out,
active.
move, walk around, do something, and then pillar 2 is eat better.
Yeah, staying active is pillar 1. Eating well is pillar 2. I can come back and talk another time later about pillar 3, sleep well. We have 8 pillars of health. The last pillar is probably one of the most important, and that's getting involved in clinical research.
Yes.
Knowing your resources in your community, talking to your primary care physician about getting an annual memory assessment, or going to through the Healthy Brain Club and getting an assessment by Dr. Trin. Those are all things you can do to really get a good baseline of what your memory is, but more importantly, prevent Alzheimer's and dementia, and keep your brain healthy and your body healthy.
Next time, though, we got to do this at your house, Lisa, so we can eat this stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you guys are really bumming out that you don't get to eat any of my frittatas.
Next time.
Well, thank you for letting me cook.
Thank you for cooking for us here. And that's tune in next week when we're going to have more ideas and information here with Dr. Trin, Health Talks. Everybody say goodbye. Take one more bite out of one of those things here as we're going on.
Virtual bite.
Ooh, I will do so, my friend.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us here on another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trin.